Okay, hello everyone. I have a short presentation about the summary of one of the conference that was taking part a few days ago in London. We were there together with Maciej. We have great time, and of course the main part was the conference on a Tuesday. And today I would like to talk about all the things that the great speakers were delivered. There was missing one picture of the last speaker that was from the Ember conference, but here they are. So everything that I will be sharing is from them. Okay, I will talk a little bit about performance of web application and how it impacts the priorities of the Ember.js now, about Glimmer.js and what is the role of the Glimmer.js in Ember.js ecosystem, about what are the two very important changes that are ongoing in the Ember, and a little bit about what's happening in the documentation team, and few peaks that are found from other presentations also. So first thing is performance. Yeah, it was one of the main topic of the presentation, because it's like if the application will load slow, the user will leave the application before they will be able to do anything. So there's an important tool that's called Lighthouse, provided by the Google, when you can evaluate your web page against certain metrics: the size of the assets, the time that the app starts rendering, and its interact table. This is an add-on for the Chrome that you can install. It's worth to check it. The next thing is this PRPL pattern from Google that try to optimize user experience by reducing the number of data that you need to load first. So we have this like app shell that with the inline CSS sometimes that will load much faster, and then you pre-cache and load all other things. So you not load the whole application at once, because it's sometimes too slow. Very often it's too slow for big application. So it's also interesting thing to look at in order to performance of the web application. In regards of the Ember.js, there are 4 great add-ons that help with the going into progressive web application. So it's like first and foremost using service worker, so the cache for the application. So the second time the user access the page is much faster. And there is also this add-on Ember web app that help with all the creating the manifest that you need for the progressive web application. And in most cases, it's just install and run it. Most cases. Glimmer as a pretty important factor, because it's like if you look at this chart, it's like, okay, if you think about the size of the framework, then we see that the Glimmer, like a view layer only, is significantly smaller than Ember.js, and it's also much faster. And the story behind Glimmer now is like that Glimmer is a library that is like getting permission to do only one thing. So it's like Glimmer focusing only on the component and the rendering the components. And within a time, a lot of good things will be pulling back to the Ember.js framework itself. And it's already happening. Yeah, if you're using 2.13 or 2.14, some things you may notice that is already ported from the Glimmer. And more things will be in that way. Still, long road before us, but it's like Glimmer.js is also a way to start with existing applications that you need to step by step convert to the single page app. With Glimmer, you can start with component by component, and then finally this component will be able to use within a Ember.js application. Okay, so 3 topics that I remember about Glimmer.js that was mentioning, it's pretty important, is like tree shaking. So it's like, because Glimmer from beginning is built as a very modular one system, it will be much easier to detect what you need in a production or you don't need. So the final size of the application will be much more smaller. There's also topic of rehydration that the Yehuda pushed to the Glimmer.js, I don't know, 20 days ago or something like that. And the rehydration is like when you render your single page application on the server, user loaded, and it's a static page, and then all the JavaScripts get loaded into web page, and the real application is booting in the client side. For now, it's like removing all the DOM and writing it from the scratch. So there is a little bit like blink and not perfect for end user experience. Rehydration is like we will not remove the DOM at all. We just enhance it with what the Ember application is doing. And it's working. It started working in Glimmer. It will be finally working also in Ember. The two other things, actually the third thing is module unification. Is like changing the structure of the repository of the project. In a Glimmer, you already can use it. You can start using it in Ember, but it's highly, I would say, experimental. It's like you need to have at least Ember Cilia 2.14, and whenever you will generate this with the unification blueprint, you will get Ember 2.16 alpha. And it's somehow working, but if you know that what the alpha mean in Ember, is meaning we will wait for that a while. Still, the new arrangement of the directories would be much better, much consistent. Yeah, we will have UI data services and utils would be on the top level, and would be much easier to navigate through the files. There is also module migrator, which helps the old application to migrate to the new version of the file system. It's not like everything will be working after you will do that, but this migrator will assist you with doing it much faster. The next thing that is pretty big RFC is JavaScript module API. It's like in the past, Ember have its own Ember object created, and everything was in the Ember object. That is stuff from the past, and there is a lot of work put into that we should be able to use the S6 classes or use the TypeScript directly, because now, because of this Ember object, using TypeScript is not so feasible, I would say, in many cases. So it will help with one thing, that we would be able to define classes as ES6, which is now possible, but it's also allowing us to pick more granular way what we need from the framework. So the footprint of the framework and application should be much smaller in many cases. There is a lot of work to have this done, so we will be able to import very specific modules, but it's something that is happening, and there is already experimental written a package that help to convert your code from the old syntax to the new one. It's not like it solves everything for you, but it's like every time in Ember there's a big change, there is a migration tool for that should help you with a project. And one thing that was very awesome that RWJ showed on the conference in London is decorators. So whenever you need to define inject service, you can use decorator for injecting in. It's the most cleaner way that you can see. There's also is like whenever you want to make any function a computed property, you just use the proper decorator for that, and that's all. It's working. If some function should be an action available from the template, you also use only a decorator for that. And I haven't tested, but RWJ said that it's working. So it's already you can use it. So for testing, of course. So that's about this next module API new. And next thing is about documentation team. There is also new page for the browsing API. There is also new members of this documentation team, and they have a lot of work because usually the people from the documentation team also sit on the Slack and help people when they have a problem. There will be more work for trying to help with the materials, so the people around the world would be able to conduct their own workshop with Ember.js. And there is also the goal to unify style guides of all plugins. So it's like whenever you create a new plugin, a new add-on package for Ember, there should be a unified way to document it, and also for browsing. So it would be in the long run very beneficial. There is also help still needed. There's a lot of work. Yeah. So as we are here creating our small community, it would be nice to also think about it, how we can help with maybe creating these materials for workshops that would be held. Whatever. This is open topic, but it's good to look for it. If you want to look, there is a link for the original slides of the logs that was prepared. It's nice to look at. Jessica also was telling about web components in Glimmer.js. The idea of web components is like you create a component that can extend the HTML in a browser, and it should work in all of the browsers. Yeah, but it's like we are not there yet. Not every browser supports it. You still have to use polyfill, but if you will use this polyfill, you can start building web components. And web components, ideal, is something that you could be using regardless of the framework that you are using. Because the web component has its interface to communicate, and that's all. Yeah, and it should be agnostic from the other frameworks. And there is using Glimmer, you can now try to create a web component, and this component should be usable in also, for example, if you will build it, you probably can use it in React. I haven't tested, but this is the idea world where we are going to. So it's good to check her presentation if you want to know more about that. The developer from the NetGuru was also showing this approach that they have this D3 diagrams that they were rendering, and they need to do it in the fastboot. And fastboot, there's no DOM. So how to do it? Yeah, and they show pretty in details case study about how to do it. Yeah, step by step. It's a lot of work. But if you ever gone into the case when you on the server side need to do something like that, it's probably worth to check it out. The presentation, I couldn't find it so far. They say they will publish it, so I would be looking for it further. It's a good case study. I also didn't think too much about this test selectors, that it could be so helpful, but how the presentation was delivered, it's really help to make link between your template and your test in integration and acceptance test. And everything is all of the selectors that we're putting to this data test post body would be cleaned up in the production build. So it's a pretty neat solution. I would definitely will check it. There's also a link for the presentation if anyone wants to see it. Few other things, like there is new plugin, ESLint plugin Ember in the Ember CLI repository. It have different kind of names before, but it have a lot of best practices that you can, of course, pick from the list and enforce on your project, some extendable stuff. There was also Ember CLI detergent as a different kind of approach for that. Also worth to check about. And nice tools that we're showing was AST Explorer, so abstract syntax tree for JavaScript. Any JavaScript you can paste and look at this abstract syntax tree. Sometimes if you would like to do some operation on the JavaScript itself, might be nice. And the last presentation was about the protocols. And it's nice to see that Quick is getting more and more usage. And there is also good that that probably there will be a standardized version of the Quick protocol in the near future that will really make it very beneficial, especially for people that have low quality connection, to the internet. So it's usually all the mobile phones, if you think about it. And it also will have an impact on us, how we can build web application. Okay, that was a very great event. We probably still own a lot of beer to RVJ. And we will definitely go there the next time. And thank you for your time.